Can you just give me a quick overview of what it is that you're doing and how often you're doing it? Day to day,
Yeah,
month
sure.
to month, year to
So,
year. Can you just give
I
me a quick
these days I
overview
have quite a
of
good
what it
board,
is that you're
which I've got a
doing and
big
how often you're
45
doing it?
board, so I've got a complete setup. So, I always sort of caveat like what I do might not be totally relevant to someone who only has a hangboard and nothing else. So, like I usually I can do my warm up on the wall, like with normal climbing, and I would actually do my boulder session first, and then hangboard afterwards. You could do it the other way around. It doesn't really matter too much as long as the bouldering session doesn't leave you too tired to have a
Mm.
high quality effort. That's a key point. But if I was on my hangboard and I was only doing the hangboard and nothing else,
Mm.
then I would just start off with just hanging on the jug, just to kind of wake up the body, and then I progress to a few pull-ups on the jug. Like I just do half a dozen pull-ups and then 10 pull-ups and then another set of 10 pull-ups, and then I'm doing the same on like the 20 mil rung. Just start with a hang and then a few pull-ups on two arms, which is quite easy for me. Um, and then I would progress towards some harder hangs. So there's multiple ways you can do that. You can either keep the same edge size and add some weight to yourself, or decrease the edge size, or go into one hand but have a bit of support. It all depends on your level. You have to be a bit inventive with that. I'm kind of fortunate that on a 20 mil edge, I can usually do the hangs on one hand, but only just. So if I'm kind of weak, or the conditions are not good, or I'm a little bit fatigued, then just doing a hang with body weight for a few seconds is as much as I can do, and it's just perfect. And if I'm feeling very strong and conditions are very good, then I might have to add a little bit of weight with a small dumbbell in my other hand. And I'll just do a few sets of each grip type. So I'll do that chisel grip, 4-finger open hand, then I'll do 3-finger drag, and then I'll do half crimp rather than full crimp on one hand, just because a full crimp on one hand just feels a little bit awkward for my wrist. So a
Sure.
half crimp just puts my wrist in a bit more neutral to be on one hand. And I just do a few sets, three to five
Sure.
sets. Maybe I would make it 3 sets because I'm also doing the bouldering on the wall, and so the total amount of training is plenty. If I didn't have the bouldering wall and I was only doing the fingerboard, then maybe I would make it 5 sets. That's what I used to do when I only had a fingerboard.
Mm-hmm.
And so that total fingerboard workout is only about 30 minutes, and the total amount of time doing hard hangs is very small.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a minute or two of exercise. So it's not really tiring. And even still, if someone doesn't have a lot of training behind them, then they wouldn't be able to do that every day. They might only manage that 3 times a week. But for me, when I started fingerboarding, I already had like 10, 11 years of pretty regular bouldering. I mean, I was pretty obsessed with climbing from the get-go, so I was doing a lot. So I had already built up a degree of resilience and could handle quite a load. And also, I've always been quite good at resting and paying attention to the quality of my rest. So I always, even from an early age, appreciated that I should go to bed and get some good quality sleep. And if I didn't do that, I would have to modulate the training the next day or even the next week. And yeah, just looking after my general stress. So if I was just too strung out, I knew I had you want to develop a sense of your readiness to train, how recovered you actually feel, and whether you're really able to produce a top quality effort. That's the key for strength training, is to be able to produce a high quality effort. So if you pull on the hangboard and you just know that you're at 80%, then possibly you could still do the session, but just do a bit less. Even a single set would still be really good. Or possibly you could just rest and do it tomorrow. That tends to be what I do. And so when I go on my board, if I've been doing a lot of training, or if I'm trying to mix trying my actual projects with training on the board, then sometimes if I don't quite know if I'm ready to train, I'll go in and I'll start the warm-up, and usually within 5 minutes, I know. And sometimes I'll start and then start to feel better. and think, okay, I'll continue. And sometimes I think, no, I should rest, and I just rest.
All right, y'all, just a quick 30 seconds here to shout out the sponsor of this video, PhysiVantage Nutrition, the best of the best when it comes to climbing performance nutrition. I've been using it for years. I think you're going to love it, but don't take my word for it. Check out their athlete team. Oh my gosh, Alex Magos, Jonathan Sechrist, Daniel Woods, Paige Clausen, Natalia Grossman, Amity Warm, Jordan Cannon. There's too many to name, y'all. They're using PhysiVantage every single day because it works. I think you're going to love it. Just give it a shot. Use code STRUGGLE at checkout for 15% off and take your performance to the next level. All right, let's get back to the video. How do you look at that as the other side of the coin where overtraining could come in? I'm in my mid-40s, you know, feeling a little creaky in the fingers sometimes. I want to eke out ways to level up and improve faster. But I also want to be mindful of recovery times so that I'm not digging myself too deep of a hole. And how do you look at that for yourself, but also beyond for other climbers, myself, and those who are listening? If we're going to add in that extra try hard, how do we also make sure we're not adding too much, or that at least we're recovering properly between efforts?
I think for people in your situation and myself, I'm in my mid-40s, and the answer to that question more often lies outside of the training than it does inside the training. In your 40s, you should be able to manage the same, if not more, training than you did in your 20s and your 30s, because you know over time you should be increasing your capacity, your resilience to training. Your body should be getting more robust with all this strength training. That is the point of it, is to make your body stronger and more robust. And so as you get older, then you should be getting better, and your ability to handle training should be getting better. Now, obviously, there is a point at which that'll start to go the other way, but it should be after your 40s, probably significantly after your 40s.
Right.
But for most athletes in the Western world, it's usually a lot earlier than that. It's usually in their late 20s or 30s, they start to feel that their ability to recover from training and to handle more starts to decline. But I would think that it's different for everyone, depends on their individual situation, and there's many inputs to this. But generally speaking, it's going to be things like poor quality sleep, poor quality nutrition, overload of general stress. Those are the things that are all conspiring to reduce the quality of their recovery.